What's going on, you guys? It's Ryan coming to you with a brand new video. And today, we're going to be talking about these UFOs that are supposedly getting shot down. I've had a lot of questions lately being asked to me. What's going on, Ryan? People want to know what I think, what I believe. Are these UFOs? Are we under attack? What's going on, Ryan? This is your thing. This is your speciality. So, Ryan, what do you think is going on with these UFOs that the government is supposedly shooting down? Well, I'm going to tell you everything that I kind of know and what I think. So, for starters, 2014 was when I got my first message from extraterrestrials. Now, if you're not familiar with the Pleiadians, I highly, highly recommend that you look them up. The Pleiadians were the first group of ETs that I ever got a message from. And I was taken to a place, it was another planet, and it reminded me of, I always forget the actress's name from The Sound of Music, when she's in that field and you have the white snow-capped mountains behind her, and she's like, "The hills are alive with the sound of music." Congrats, you all survived my horrible singing. But, back on point. I was taken to a place that looked like that. And it was on another planet. And there was a man in a blue suit with blonde hair, long blonde hair, very muscular physique. He looked like a male model. Like better than, kind of like Fabio, but even better looking. I'm not gay or anything, but, even I could tell this guy was like, he'd be very attractive where women and, men, if that's your thing, would be attracted to this individual. He was very good looking. And he brought me over to this screen. We were kind of in a place that looked like a pavilion. And there was a screen attached to the wall of this pavilion. And he turned on the screen, and it showed an image of our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. And he took his finger, and he drew a triangle through part of the galaxy. And there were outskirts of the galaxy that were not in this triangle. And he said, everything inside this triangle is the Galactic Federation. And then he showed me where Earth was in the lower corner of the triangle. And he said to me, and I quote, "As long as Earth is within our borders," meaning the borders of the Galactic Federation, "there will never be an Independence Day like scenario on Earth." So he's telling me in that message, there's never going to be an alien invasion. There's never going to be an alien Armageddon where all these ships come down and start blowing up the planet and killing off humans. And I believe that. Because this was not a message of words. This was a telepathic message. And when you get a telepathic message, you don't just get the message, but you feel the message. You feel the intent behind the message. And the intent behind the message was this was not a lie. This was not a trick. This was sincere. As long as Earth is within the Galactic Federation borders, There will never be an Independence Day-like scenario. So if you're not familiar with what the Galactic Federation is, the Galactic Federation is the government, if you want to say, of the Milky Way galaxy. It is a federation of many different alien species. They have a Federation Council where these different groups, different races get together and they make policy. And they all have to be in agreement with a decision. There has to, because they believe that what the Galactic Federation believes in more than anything else is evolution and balance. Okay? They believe that is in alignment with the divine creator. We have to understand here on Earth, to be involved and believe in spiritual things, then we believe in religion. You know, you have people who believe in this religion or that religion. You have some people who are atheists, some people this or that. The spiritual belief system is a religious type belief system. But that's because we come into this world forgetting everything. So we have to relearn everything. Out there, outside of Earth, you don't forget. You remember where you came from. So think about this for a minute. If you remember where you came from, and you remember past lives, is believing in spirit and believing in a divine creator, is it religion anymore? Or is it just a way of life? It's a way of life for them. You don't have atheism out there because everybody remembers where they came from. They remember it. So they just know it. So if you just know it, you're going to follow in the decrees or in the model handed out by the divine creator. So the Galactic Federation is spiritual. These ETs are spiritual, not by choice. It is what it is. It's the natural state of being for them to follow the will of the divine creator. That's why I always have tried to tell people ETs and spirituality go hand in hand on this planet. There's no difference between them. You will get spiritual messages from these ETs. You will. So, that being said, as long as Earth is within this federation based on spirit, there will never be an Independence Day-like scenario on this planet. There's going to be no invasion, no harm. That being said, do I believe that the government is shooting down UFOs? No. They're not shooting down UFOs. That's a joke. Think of it this way. You are dealing with beings that are millions of years older than us. They have the technology to go from one point in the universe to another point in the universe. Not by going to warp speed or light speed as we see in Star Wars or Star Trek. They go travel through places interdimensionally. That's a lot of technology to be able to do that. So that being said, if they have the technology to do those things, do you really think our technology is a threat to them? You really think a hypersonic missile is a threat to a flying saucer? There's been UFO reports of of government facilities, nuclear missile silos that will have a UFO go overhead and the whole silo shuts down. Whatever these aliens do, these ETs do, they can disable our equipment. So you really think, it's like a caveman throwing a javelin at an American soldier with an M16 rifle. That's child's play. That's a joke. You're never going to kill the American soldier. They're going to get you every time. There's a massive technological leap between a caveman and a modern-day American soldier. So, that being said, they're not shooting down actual UFOs. This is a cover story, most likely, that is meant to distract from several things going on in the media right now. You have the United States being verifiably blamed for the NORAD 2 pipeline destruction. That's number one. You have the confidential documents being found in many politicians' houses. That's number two. And then you have the recent balloon, which was kind of an embarrassment to our nation and to the Biden administration. That's number three. So when you add these things up and you look at what's going on, they will create and fabricate events, stories to distract people from things that are going on in the news, to get people talking. Now, the other thing I want to inform all of you about is there's another thing that you need to look up if you're not familiar with this. This is called Project Bluebeam. I'm going to give you the name again. I want you to write this down. Project Bluebeam. This exists. This is an actual CIA operation. It's never been carried out, but it exists. The idea behind Project Bluebeam is to use hologram technology, which as an IT person who does IT work for the government, it exists. I've seen the technology. So they can use holograms to create the image of UFOs in the sky. And so they can blow up buildings, do this and do that, and create this kind of alien invasion looking thing in the sky to make it seem like we're being invaded and attacked by ETs. Now you might be saying to yourself, what is the purpose of this? Why would our government want to create a fake alien invasion? Well, the purpose of the fake alien invasion is to create, going really deep here now, it's to create a one world government. We call this the New World Order. Now, the New World Order, some would say, is a conspiracy theory. It's not. They don't call it the New World Order today. Today, it's called the World Economic Forum. It's Klaus Schwab's group. You can follow it. I mean, it's a known thing. Google it, World Economic Forum. And the World Economic Forum, what they always talk about is basically how they're going to screw over humanity for their own goods and, for their own goals. They talk all the time. It's not a secret. They want a one world government, one world digital currency, and a one world religion. So the point of Project Bluebeam is to create a fake alien invasion to cause fear and panic in the general populace. And then the government can come out and say, we can win, we can do this, but we all have to unite as a one world entity. And people will be scared enough to where they'll go along with it. And they'll allow a one world government. But that's the point of Project Bluebeam. Now, do I think they're going for it with Project Bluebeam? Not quite yet. As I said, I think everything that's going on is a distraction to take some of the heat off of the administration, off the government. And I also think they're testing the waters of Project Bluebeam. I think they're watching the reactions of the public to see if they'll believe it, to see if they'll get scared enough. You have to understand, after 2020 with COVID and everything else going on with that, the thing you can't mention, they were successful in instilling a lot of fear in people. Okay? So they're constantly looking at ways to make people scared. Because with fear they can control. With fear they can gain more power. So this to me is a false flag operation. It's fake. I don't believe there's actual UFOs being shot down. We are not under an alien invasion. I can 100% assure you that. There is no alien invasion. We're not going to be invaded. We're in a... Galactically, we're in a... There are bad ETs out there. And there are bad ETs that want to keep us in a low vibration. And that's why you have all this fear. Earth, planet Earth, is quarantined. They're quarantined, or we're quarantined until we can evolve enough. When we learn to raise our vibrations more. We exist in the past, we exist in the third dimension, which the third dimension is the lowest and the strongest vibration. And the more you can raise your vibration in 3D, you start to transcend 3D, where then you go to the fourth dimension and realize that you are everything. You are the past, the present, and the future. You are everything that you have done, everything that you are, and everything that you will do. You learn that in the fourth dimension. And so once you understand that, when you've traversed the third dimension and the fourth dimension by raising your vibration, you then enter 5D, which is the level of unconditional love. 5D is where the ascended masters are. Okay? So, right now, we are working as a species to get to 5D. That is the point, that is the lesson of the age of Aquarius that we are in right now. And I will be talking more about that in my workshop this year on Atlantis. But this is the era in which we have to work on raising our vibration. That's why this is called the Great Awakening. The Great Awakening is going to require us to look at what's going on in the world, to understand we're being manipulated, to understand that there's these false events out there that are trying to get us to look away from other things going on. But most importantly, these issues, these events are trying to keep us into fear. COVID was meant to keep us in fear. If you don't get the thing, you might die. Fear. The Russia-Ukrainian war. Fear. World War III. Fear. Now, aliens. Fear. That is the overarching theme of all this. Let me ask you something. When you turn on the media, when you watch whatever, it doesn't matter what the station is. So I don't want to hear CNN, Fox News, whatever. It doesn't matter. When you watch the news, what do you get? Is it happy news? Or is it fearful news? It's the latter. Everything is negative. Everything is fearful. The media is run by the CIA. The Mockingbird media. Project Paperclip. Look those things up. Everything is meant to keep you in fear so you don't raise your vibration. So you don't learn to love your fellow man. Everything is meant to keep you down. There are ETs out there that don't want you going to 5D. They want the fear. They want you staying in 3D. They want your vibration low because humans with their emotions create so much energy that they feed off of that. If you raise your vibration, you will enter 5D. This is not a Ryan Kelly philosophy either. There are many people who have talked about this. Dolores Cannon. Most people know who Dolores Cannon is. She talks about this. The earth is splitting. You want to live in a 5D world of unconditional love, or do you want to continue to be where you are now? That's what all this is about. There is no invasion. You're fine. You're safe. I would be more worried about the people in Washington, D.C. than I would be about anything going on up there. They are more your friends than the people in D.C. They're not shooting down real UFOs. It's fake. If they were, I would tell you. Now, as always, I know some of the stuff I say can be a little off-putting or a little difficult to swallow, and that's fine. If you don't believe what I'm telling you, that's fine. But here's what I would like you to take away from this. I would like you to write down some of the things that I have mentioned. Specifically, Project Bluebeam. I'm asking you to just look into it. Do your research. Look these things up for yourself. Because one day they will try to pull Project Bluebeam. And if you know what it is, and you've researched it, you'll be prepared for it. Because while everybody else is afraid, you won't be. And you won't fall for it. So keep that in mind. Don't believe the things I say. Do your research. And then make your own conclusion. But when it comes to this, I try to make this my thing. I'm not going to throw out false information about what this is. I sometimes joke around or make joke videos about it, but for the most part, this is UFOlogy is a passion of mine. So I research these things, I study these things, and I get messages on these things. And sometimes the messages tell me where to go, where to look to find out more information. So keep that in mind. Nobody be afraid. They're not shooting down anything. We're not being invaded. I assure you of that. And just keep an open mind and look up some of the stuff I've told you about. All right? Everything's going to be fine.